So this is a follow-up to that Oster toaster that I was going to try to fix. And I showed you that that white piece that had the 4 posts on it and had a wire that was supposed to connect to that outside post had been burnt all the way through. And because it was burnt pretty badly and really black, I tried to take my Dremel with a grinding wheel on it, and I tried my best to clean that end of that part that was burnt black. And you can see the black on this grinding wheel and on the point of it, where I tried to stick the point of that down and grind away that black stuff and get it off of there and get it cleaned up. And then I would take my multimeter on continuity testing and try to test from that burnt end to the other end of that post. And I couldn't get continuity. And I thought, well, I guess that piece is ruined and it's not going to work. But I kept working on it, kept trying to clean it, kept trying to check it for continuity. And I finally ended up exposing this piece right here, a connector. And of course, on this end over here is where the wire was supposed to be connected that burnt off. And the other end slipped over a male part that stuck up from that white plastic. And so I took a flat blade screwdriver and I just pried this piece off. And underneath it was a piece that wasn't black. It wasn't all messed up. So I checked that piece. I'm going to call it the male end that slips inside of here. I tried to take that. So once I pried this off and the wire was no longer connected to it, I said I was going to try to solder that wire back on there. But I didn't know that this connector was there until I just kept grinding away with that Dremel tool until I could see this, and then I pried it off. And this is the way it came off, right there like that. And underneath the male part that slips in there, I checked for continuity on that part to the other end. So you would have this male part, it would be something like this, that would go inside of there. The male part that goes inside of there. I could check from there to the other end of the post, the white plastic post that was coming out the other side. And then I did have continuity. So I thought, oh, so I do have continuity once I get this piece off of there. And I checked for continuity on the male part that would be sticking up from that white plastic piece to the other end of the post coming out of that white plastic piece. And I did have continuity. So I thought, all I got to do now is find a piece like this to crimp back onto that wire and then connect it to the male piece that's sticking up. So I remembered that I had bought this little kit quite some time ago, and it has 3 different sizes of connectors along with the male posts and some plastic to cover them. Anyway, the one that fit the best is this one right here. I'm going to take it out of this heat shrink tubing. So I had 3 different sizes, and you can see that this piece that was black and I pried off is a little bit bigger than this piece here. And then there's this next one that comes out of that kit is much bigger than that one. So I tried putting this one over that male post that was sticking up, and it went over it. So I thought, okay, all I got to do is crimp it onto that wire. But before I crimp it on there, I want to cut a piece of heat shrink, put it on that wire, slip it up on that wire, then crimp that wire onto this connector, then slip this back down so that it goes over the crimp part, and then heat shrink it. And once it was heat shrinked, then I was able to take that white piece that was still on the wire and slip it all the way down so that it was covering this new connector. And I connected that new connector to the male piece sticking up out of that white piece that had the 4 posts on it. And put the whole thing back together with my fingers crossed, and sure enough, it worked. It worked great. Now, why did that wire get burnt completely in half? Well, I think I told you in my video that I saw some green corrosion. Usually when copper gets wet, that's the way it corrodes. It corrodes into a green color. So I'm thinking that some moisture got down there and shorted that thing out, and it burnt that wire. And I talked to my wife about it, and she says, well, we never put anything, any kind of liquid or water or anywhere near that toaster. She says, oh, I don't see how it could have gotten wet. But I got to thinking that the grandkids really love to eat Eggo waffles, and they're frozen. And we have a big freezer that is not the defrost. You've got to defrost it. It's not the automatic defrost type. It's an much older model. So a lot of the things that we put in that big freezer get frost on them. And if those Eggo waffles have been in that big freezer for a while, they do end up getting frost on them. And that's what I'm thinking maybe the moisture came from, that maybe the wife or grandkids stuck a waffle in some waffles into that toaster that had frost on them. And of course, once it starts toasting, it's going to melt the frost, and that's going to turn into moisture, and that's going to get on things where it's going to evaporate. So I think that's what happened. I have no idea, but I think that's what happened. I'm going to pause it for now, or stop it. Okay, so here's the toaster that has been fixed. And this is where we normally keep it, right here by the refrigerator. And it's plugged in back there behind that microwave. And I've got 3 pieces of bread here that I'm going to put inside of there. I haven't had my breakfast yet today, but there they are. And the thing that was not happening, my wife first told me, she says, maybe you can try to fix this thing because it won't stay down. She says you push it down and it just comes right back up. Well, there's a magnet in there. And those 4 posts that I told you about, there's a Y-shaped piece of plastic that slips down between the 2 inside posts, and it pushes them out so that they make contact with the other 2 posts. And once that contact is made, that's what energizes this thing. And there's a magnet in there that holds this down. So once, and you can see it's starting to get hot in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on pause, and I'll show you the toast here in just a minute. Okay, so it just popped up, and there's my toast in there. Working. Another successful fix on I think we've had this Oster 4-piece toaster. Is also a little bit wider so that you can maybe put a bagel or something in there. I think we bought this thing back when we moved into this new house, maybe even before we moved into this new house, when it was new. That was in 1999. This is 2022, so 20-something years old. Managed to fix it. That's the end of this video.